Hello, this is Lilian, welcoming you to the 1903 third edition, of the Enfield Talking Newspaper, Dateline, the 16th of May 2013. The readers this week are Beverley and myself, Lilian, with Colin on the controls. The items that we will be reading come from our local newspapers, the Enfield Gazette and Advertiser and the Enfield Independent, and are their copyright. Our title music is Country Rock Polka, composed by Pat Prilly, Fernand Boulan, Harry Brewer, and performed by Jean-Jacques Perry, and is used with his kind permission. Local stories include concerns over Riot Act review and green buzzing in the sun for festival. And now I have some special news items for you, and the first one is a correction. We would like to correct the information broadcast about Linda Greenfield's funeral on last week's tape. The funeral was held in May and not March. Linda was a great friend to many of us and is sorely missed. And I have a thank you. Thank you to Janet, Audrey, John, Ian and Philip, who volunteered to run the bookstall at the Christchurch May Fair on Southgate Green on the 6th of May on behalf of ETN. They managed to sell over 1,000 books on the day. The church has given ETN half of the takings from the stall and will be receiving a cheque for £200. Thank you to Christchurch Southgate. There is an excellent photo of Janet on the bookstall. That's Janet Welkdow, who is one of our group leaders at ETN. And now the next item is Sonata. From this month, thanks to the support of the British Wireless for the Blind Fund, the Enfield Talking Newspaper is available on Sonata, an internet audio player specially designed for use by blind and partially sighted people. Sonata offers another way for you to access our service, and means that people who have moved away from Enfield, who are no longer able to receive our cassettes, can keep up to date with local news. Sonata devices need a broadband connection and are available from the British Wireless for the Blind Fund. The charity offers devices on free loan to people who meet its eligibility criteria. For more information, contact David Beard of the BWBF on 01622 754 757. That is 01622 754 757. And the next item is Make a Noise in Libraries Fortnight. As part of the RNIB's Make a Noise in Libraries fortnight, the Enfield Library Service will be holding an introduction to e-books and devices. The event will take place on Monday the 3rd of June from 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. at Enfield Town Library. Spaces are limited, so to reserve a place, please telephone Gemma Panai on 0208 379 2732. That's 0208 379 2732. The John Jackson Library in Bush Hill Park will host a listening group where you can listen to a book or music together. The group will take place on the 4th and 13th of June from 10:30 to 12 p.m. For more information, contact Gemma Penai again on 0208 379 2732. The next item is email befriending service. The Thomas Pocklington Trust runs a free email befriending service for people with sight loss. This service is available to people with sight loss who are 18 years old and above. Service users and volunteers will be paired up and exchange frequent emails. If you are interested in exchanging regular emails with a trained e-befriender, then get in touch with the Trust or befriending at pocklingtontrust.org.uk or 0208 996 1930. That's 0208 996 1930. You will need to complete a simple form to ensure you are being paired with someone suitable. But we can do this over the phone, through email, or post this out to you. RNIB is the Technology Support Squad is the next item. The RNIB Technology Support Squad is a team of hundreds of volunteers throughout the UK ready to help by phone or with a home visit. We're on hand to help install and use new technology such as Freeview, satellite or cable equipment, DVD players and switching on audio description, tuning digital radios, using telephones, computers or laptops, and sorting out problems with hardware such as monitors and printers. To find out more or to get support from the RNIB Technology Support Squad, call the helpline 0303 123 9999. That is 0303 123 9999. I've got a What's On sports notice. I know we do have sports on the second side, but as this is on these sheets, I will read it to you. The 37th National Athletics Championships for visually impaired people will take place on Saturday, 15th of June 2013 at the Mile End Stadium, London, E3 4R for Robert, R for Robert. Entry is free. For information, contact Alan Weatherly on 07958 078 021. That is 07958 078 021. And now over to Beverley, who will read the first item of local news.
A trader in Enfield town is warning of disastrous consequences for independent businesses after the government ordered a review of the way victims of riots are compensated. Shops in Enfield were ransacked during the August 2011 riots, and traders lost thousands of pounds as a result. On Thursday, the government announced a review of the 1886 Riot Damages Act, under which police authorities are liable for damages caused to property during riots. The review, headed by senior civil servant Neil Kingan, will examine the criteria for police compensation and could call for changes to the definition of a riot under the Act. If given the green light, the move could see fewer payouts for riot victims. Changing the criteria is likely to increase the amount traders are charged by insurance companies. And a chemist whose shop was attacked in 2011 has warned that high streets could suffer. Deepak Shah spent a night barricaded in his pharmacy, Health Fair Chemist, in Southbury Road, while rioters smashed the windows and tried to break in. The riots cost him £22,000, and he said, if the government withdraws liability, it will mean insurance premiums go up dramatically, or insurance companies will refuse to cover the risk entirely, as is often the case with flooding. In that scenario, small businesses would not be able to recover if they are hit by a riot, and the security risk will mean that shops will put up heavy shutters and protective bars. This will turn some areas into siege cities, and people would not feel safe, which would have a knock-on effect on their quality of life and send areas into a downward spiral. Damien Green, Minister for Policing and Criminal Justice, said the aftermath of the 2011 riots showed the need for improvements to speed up the payment of compensation to those who need it and weed out frivolous claims. This independent review will consider how best to reform the Act so it protects the most vulnerable and provides value for money to the taxpayer. The Metropolitan Police was taken to court last year after refusing to pay compensation for stock destroyed in the fire of the Sonny Distribution Centre in Solar Way, Enfield Lock, during the riots. The police argued the fire was a result of organised crime and not a riot. The High Court hearing against the Met starts in June. And now a comment from the Advertiser as follows. There could be trouble ahead. The government's announcement of a review of the Riot Damages Act should come as no surprise. With benefit cuts, little economic growth and few prospects for many youngsters, the prospect of further rioting is not off the cards. From a short-term fiscal perspective, it makes sense and is just one of many areas from which the state is determined to withdraw. In the same week, we learned that Scotland Yard has asked the Home Office for water cannon at a cost of £1.3 million each to be used during future riots. That is the government's approach. Wash 'em down, lock 'em up. It should perhaps think about using £1.3 million in Enfield to instead reopen youth clubs and provide long-term apprenticeships and real job opportunities for young people, or we could find ourselves in a riot-hit borough once more.
I have a news item again about this festival that we had at Southgate's 35th May Day Festival. I hope you'll bear with me because this one has a great deal more than the item I read in the special news items. So here goes. Crowds who flocked to Southgate's 35th May Day Festival helped raise thousands of pounds for charity. X Factor finalist Andy Abraham kicked off the May Day Fair on Southgate Green in Southgate on Monday, May the 6th, with a smooth soul performance. And the annual fair run by Christchurch Southgate raised £7,000 for the Teenage Cancer Trust charity. 2 teenagers supported by the charity during their recovery also spoke about the positive impact the charity had on their lives. The Mayor of Enfield, Councillor Kate Honolulu, crowned Amelia Marriott as the May Queen under the watchful gaze of her attendants, Ellie Tobin and Chloe Marriott. Visitors made the most of a surfing machine, go-karts, a climbing wall, mini-golf, and competed in a press-up challenge in soaring temperatures. There were also performances from the Acorn Theatre Company, Enfield Grammar School Jazz Band, the Latimer School Drama Group, the Choir of Christchurch Southgate, Latin Vibes, and the Air Cadets Band. Organising committee member Francis Wyatt said, "The green buzzing with people having fun was a wonderful sight for all of us involved in organising the fair. We are indebted to all those who volunteered to help, including the Enfield Explorer Scouts, the Southgate Green Association, Enfield Talking Newspaper, and the Highlands and Southgate Squadron Air Training Corps. Most of all, we would like to thank the local community for turning out in force to support the fair. We are already planning next year's event." Father Peter Jackson, Vicar of Christchurch, said, "It was wonderful to welcome so many people to the Green and the church, describing the event as the most successful fair held during his 10 years at Christchurch."
An outreach centre that has been a lifeline to hundreds of elderly residents will reopen after Age UK Enfield was handed a grant worth almost £100,000. The Freezy Water Outreach Centre in Hertford Road was closed in March after funding ran out, but it will be reopening this month thanks to a £97,500 grant from the City of London Corporation charity, City Bridge Trust, which supports charitable work across the capital. The grant will be delivered over 3 years. Age UK Enfield previously operated 4 outreach centres known as Active Life Centres in the borough. They were used by hundreds of people each week, taking advantage of services including exercise classes, advice and a chance to socialise, but they were forced to close their doors when the funding ran out. Age UK Enfield, which is based in Nags Head Road, Ponders End, runs numerous services, including 4 foot care centres for over 50s, as well as the Parker Centre in Hounsfield Road, Edmonton, which provides a daycare service for people with dementia. By reopening Freezy Water Outreach Centre, the charity says it will once again be able to bring isolated and vulnerable elderly people together and help them to socialise. That was one of the main aims of the Active Life Centres, according to Age UK Chief Executive Tony Seagroat. The outreach centre is often the only place people get out to during the week, he said. It gives them an opportunity to socialise with other people. Mr. Seagroat added that the charity runs a befriending service with volunteers visiting elderly people, gaining their trust and encouraging them to visit an Active Life Centre. On the grant from City Bridge Trust, Mr. Seagroat said, "This funding will make such a massive difference to the clients and volunteers who access and work at this centre, and Age UK Enfield is delighted that we can open Freezy Water up to them again." Billy Dove, chairman of City Bridge Trust, added, "Active Life Centres offer a lifeline to isolated and vulnerable older Enfield residents. Because of severe financial restraints on health and local authority budgets, this service has been at risk. This 3-year grant secures the outreach service and activities and enables this valued scheme to continue."
A bubbly great-grandmother had a birthday bash to remember when she turned 104. Thought to be one of the oldest people in Enfield, Jean Froggatt celebrated her big day on Friday, May the 3rd, surrounded by her friends and family at her home in Eastbrook House, Lower Edmonton. Her oldest son, Alf, said her secret to a long life was to never drink a drop of alcohol, and that she always had a big group of friends. Mrs. Froggatt, who has 15 great-grandchildren, was born in Hackney in London, but moved to Enfield 40 years ago. She began her working life packing tea and had spells at a nylon stocking shop as well as Middlesex Hospital. In her heyday, she was a keen ballroom dancer and would regularly let off steam on the dance floor. Even today, she still joins in during sing-alongs with other residents at the retirement home, which she only moved into in February. One staff member at the home said, "She is very easygoing and very happy." The resilient 104-year-old was diagnosed with bowel cancer when she was 90 and later overcame 3 strokes. Alf added, "It is wonderful and we are really proud of her. And so are we. She's marvellous."
Cake lovers will be pleased to hear Enfield is home to some of the finest baking around. Bakery G.R. Rice & Sons, based in Ponders End Mills in Wharf Road, has been shortlisted for its taste bud-tingling toffee and ginger cake mixes in this year's Cake Awards. The family-owned business, set up 150 years ago, will fight to win the Bake-at-Home Cake category, with the winners announced in the Park Lane Hotel in Mayfair on July 17th. Managing Director David Wright said, "It's a tremendous achievement to have not 1 but 2 of our cake mixes shortlisted. The current interest in home baking makes our range of 5 cake mixes ideally placed to inspire cooks of all ages, with guaranteed delicious results every time. Experts will judge the shortlisted cakes on presentation, recipe innovation, texture, taste and value."
A free concert will be held on Sunday to herald the start of Dementia Awareness Week. Rock and roll group Out to Lunch will be performing at the bandstand in Hilly Fields, North Enfield, from 3 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. in an event organised to raise support for and awareness of the Enfield branch of the Alzheimer's Society. There will also be stalls and face painting. If the weather is bad, the event will be held at St Luke's Church in Phipps Hatch Lane. Dementia Awareness Week runs from May the 19th to the 25th. From Monday, Enfield Alzheimer's Society will have a window display set up for 2 weeks at the Lancaster Centre in Lancaster Road, Enfield. It will feature a balloon arch created by students from Capel Manor College. Dementia support worker Laura Newey said, "We are hoping to raise awareness to reach out to more people in the community and let them know about all the services we run, because caring for somebody 24/7 can be really hard." Enfield Alzheimer's Society runs the Dementia Cafe between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. on Fridays at the Lancaster Centre, where people suffering from dementia and their families and carers can drop by for support. The concert is being funded by the Friends of Hilly Fields, who saved the bandstand before renovating it in 2000. All the money raised will go towards Enfield Alzheimer's Society. Tony Claydon, chairman of the Friends of Hilly Fields, said, "We have been supporting the Enfield Alzheimer's Society virtually since we started in 1998. We always look for local charities to support, and we think it is an exceedingly good society to support." The Friends of Hilly Fields will be holding 2 more charity concerts this year. Rock and roll group The Soul Agents will be performing on July the 14th, and there will be a jazz performance from Colin Peters and guest stars on July the 28th to raise money for North London Hospice and Age UK Enfield. A dementia roadshow is being held in Edmonton Green and Enfield Town shopping centres until Sunday.
A woman who has volunteered with Enfield's Girl Guides for 36 years was rewarded in a surprise ceremony. Pam Daniels, Girl Guiding Commissioner for Middlesex East County, was away on a weekend brownie camp when 30 guests turned up to celebrate her receiving her Laurel Award, which marks her outstanding service to guiding. Ms Daniels from Enfield started volunteering with the Guides in the borough in 1977 and has been County Commissioner for 6 years. She received the highest honour in guiding, the Queen's Guide Award, in 1965 and is also a brownie leader. Jacqueline Marta, who nominated Pam for the award, said, "I can think of no other leader who shows the level of personal commitment, enthusiasm and enjoyment that Pam does, or who combines it with giving her girls so much fun. She has been a constant source of help, support, encouragement and knowledge to me and all the other leaders and girls under her care."
Rowing will return to the lake at Grovelands Park this weekend as part of its centenary celebrations. Boats have not been seen on the lake of the park in the Bourne, Southgate, for more than 30 years. But they will return on Saturday and Sunday thanks to a joint venture between community website N21.net and the 10th Enfield Sea Scouts. Hugh Humphrey, who runs N21.net, said, "No one really knows when boats were taken off the lake. Everybody seems to think it was the late 1960s or early 1970s. It is steeped in mystery. We believe it was due to arson attacks on the boathouse and people breaking into the park to use the boats at night. The return of boats to Grovelands Park is sure to provoke a sense of nostalgia for many who grew up rowing on the lake. John Southwell fondly remembers those days of his youth. Last week he returned to recreate a photograph taken of him, his twin brother Arthur and friend Tony Phillips, outside Groveland's Park Cafe in the summer of 1953. They will be among those taking the chance to row on the lake. Mr. Humphrey added, "I've spoken to about 300 people who all loved the idea. Around 30 years ago, they were young children. Now they are parents themselves and want to take their children out and recreate the happy memories they have of boating on the lake." The 2-day centenary celebration of Groveland's Park, organised by the Friends of Groveland's Park, will also include live music, dance, art and fun activities for children. Rowing sessions will run for half an hour, and each boat can fit a maximum of 4 people. To avoid queuing, you can book a boat online at www.n21net/rowing on the Lake of Groveland, sponsored by 10th Enfield Sea Scouts, HTML.
Gardeners at Capel Manor College will have 2 exhibits on display at the Chelsea Flower Show for the first time. The show, which takes place from Tuesday to Saturday next week, is in its 100th year. To help with the celebrations, the college will be using its display, The Evolution of Capel Manor College and Gardens, to demonstrate how the gardens and facilities have changed since 1913. The exhibit was designed by Capel Manor 3 senior gardeners, Julie Phipps, Tom Wheatcroft and Mark Cook, and has involved the garden staff, students and volunteers. Ms. Phipps said, "Condensing our achievements onto an exhibit has been a challenge. In the past 25 years, we have introduced over 40 new gardens at our centre in Enfield and created 3 new horticultural training centres in London. Taking part at RHS Chelsea Flower Show has always been an honour for us, especially this year, as we have been able to showcase Capel Manor and its achievements over the past 100 years. A team of students from the college in Bullsmoor Lane, Enfield, will also be displaying their work at Chelsea after being selected to take part in the Fresh Talent section. Sarah Jarman, Anna Murphy, Arit Anderson and Alison Worcester were asked to decorate 3 towering sculptures as part of a competition.
Enfield is one of the luckiest places to live in the country, according to the latest figures from the National Lottery. The borough is ranked 5th in the UK for being home to the most people who have won big, with 27 millionaires made in Enfield since the National Lottery began in 1994. A total of 190 lucky ticket holders have banked prizes of £50,000 or more. Enfield Borough Council will be handed a National Lottery lucky postcode stamp to spread the word about the borough's lucky streak. The figures include players who have publicised their winnings and those who kept their wins secret. We have now reached the end of side 1 for this tape. Please stop your machine now, take out the cassette, turn it over and start side 2.